It's been 10 long years since Dragon Age Inquisition, and the expectations for
It's
the
been
next game
that
in the
long, huh?
series, Dragon Age
Wait a minute. What kind of opponent or monster is that? It has a pole and a shield, or what is that? And where is this? Why is it a bit blocky as well?
the Veilguard seem
I mean the quality.
impossible. A full decade, a bevy of behind-the-scenes changes,
Wow,
and an
that looks good. I like this. I hope my computer can handle this graphics because I haven't upgraded for so long.
interesting start to its marketing campaign made me a little worried for my most highly anticipated game of the year.
The the Kunari, oh my god, doesn't look good for me. Honestly, the horns gets me. I mean, not the horns, but the connection from the horn to the forehead or the head. I don't know. It should have some kind of division or something, some connection. Let's see.
Year.
I admire you. What you've been through would break most people.
But one of my biggest concerns
Wait,
is based on early
what is that? Decimal, Bloodborne to Elgar'nan.
preview.
That looks like a ogre, right? The Darkspawn ogre, which is maybe red lyrium tainted, maybe. Decimal, Bloodborne to Elgar'nan.
Was that
Maybe a boss
heading
monster?
in the direction of being a linear action game rather than its more open world predecessor. While Dragon Age is known for changing its style with each
I don't mind if the maps are not too open world. Origins, I think Dragon Age games, even Inquisition, aren't that really open world. There are open areas, but not fully open world. I think it's fine as long as the map that you're trying to discover or roam around is well crafted, beautiful, with the what they call that, camera mode. I think they really made the environment look good. I feel that that's how they did it.
installment, I hoped dearly that it wouldn't lose too much of the DA DNA I fell in love with.
Yes,
After
yes,
hours
same
of
thing.
hands-on time spread across 2 days, I'm pleased to say that I walked away with excitement and curiosity, but mostly relief to wave many of those concerns goodbye.
That's good to hear. That's very good to hear.
My time with the Veilguard covered a wide smattering of things,
Betrayal
including the
or
incredibly
of
expansive character
Verlassen?
creator, the introductory quests, a faction mission, and a companion quest a little deeper into the game. But I was mostly pleased with my ability to just explore Northern Thedas and all its gorgeously designed glory.
Yeah,
Experiencing a setting in
it
Dragon
really
Age
looks
lore
good.
that we've really
I hope my computer can handle this because I haven't upgraded like for the past 5 years. My video card is 1080 Ti, so I hope this PC can handle this game at least in medium
only heard
settings.
about. To be clear, the Veilguard isn't the open world playground that Inquisition was. As game
See?
director Corinne Bush has previously stated, it's more mission based. But what impressed me after the first few hours was how much exploration can still be done in the various regions.
That's
as
good. I
well as
like
the
that.
impact the player character, Rook, can have on those regions.
And there we go. Easy. Wow, isn't that something?
These kinds of stuff feels like HMs and TMs of Pokemon, where there are closed off areas and you need some kind of ability or companions to unlock those areas. I don't particularly like that because you're locked in with that specific character. They should be in your party. So, I don't
Consider
know.
it something of a mix of Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition. The more streamlined approach of the former with the geographically and socio-politically diverse world of the latter. Of course, some of the bigger art style, combat,
Dark
and
Spawn
gameplay
Horde.
changes will be subject to personal taste. But after my time with the Veilguard, I left feeling like these 10 long years just might have been worth the wait.
Really? That's good. Very good to hear.
As fans have already seen from the first gameplay trailer, players are dropped right into the city of Minrathous in the middle of the action as Solus prepares a ritual that will devastate Thetis. Luckily, our old friend Varric has recruited you to help, and it barely takes a couple of minutes for the game to put the focus on Rook.
The hair looks really good.
After a surprisingly concise
I think it's fine, no? People were, what they call this, complaining that it's not too dark fantasy enough. I was one of those before, but I think seeing this right now and the recent videos, I think it's okay.
story recap from Varric, there are a number of aspects the Veilguard starts easing you into. For one, the combat. Gone are the days of Dragon Age Origins' more CRPG-inspired tactical system.
Too bad though.
Offering a style that's a mix of quick action and a mechanic where you can
That one, that what do you call UI? Can we go back to this one? Feels like cluttery for me. I hope they just made a line of abilities below. I think that's enough for me so that it won't hinder the full view of the screen. But I saw on one video that you can put the abilities of different companions on hotkeys. So I think maybe there's a workaround on this UI. With this UI.
and a mechanic where you can pause and pull
Sorry about that. I think someone's messaging me. Let me just put it on pause for a bit. Or not.
up
Let's
your
just
radio
continue.
menu. While this absolutely does take some getting used to, and it'll be a gradual process to create what could be a highly customized build while learning all your companions' different abilities, it didn't take me long to actually start having fun with it.
I don't know. I hope it's not too complicated. Because I really hate looking on guides online. I like min-maxing, of course. Everyone likes that. Most gamers do. But I really feel, or I want to feel, that I created that character. And checking guides online feels like it's not my character on anymore. But on the other side, if I feel that my character is not good as the characters of other people, it doesn't also feel as good. So I hope the leveling up system, the abilities are easy enough to grasp so that I don't get disappointed.
I largely played mage and rogue builds during my hands-on
Ooh,
time, and
mage.
also quickly started to lean on certain companions'
Felassen.
abilities. For one, the mage healing ability was essential. For one particularly difficult remnant, I basically established a pattern where I was only using Balara's mana to heal,
Rogue
dodging
is
and playing
so
it safe when it got too
smooth.
risky.
See?
Nev's
I
abilities
love the
like Slam
sliding stuff. The sliding, the jumping. Ogre.
one I kept returning to, offering a bit more control on the battlefield when the situation got a little too fast-paced.
This feels like a blink or dash for the mage, but the animation on how the mage animates the attacks, I think it's not too good. Or I want it to feel like in what do you call this? Inquisition and Dragon Age 2. They're like playing with their staff, no? They're twirling it. It was very fast. This feels like, I don't know, very slow. Not slow. I'm not sure how you explain it, but it doesn't feel as fast paced. See?
And for you glass cannon builds out there, you'll want to have a warrior around to taunt your enemies out of your way.
No problem.
Like a whole lot in the Veilguard, combat revolves around your companion.
See, that's so cool for rogues. They even have the sparks. Feels like a mage, honestly.
Even though you can't fully take control of them like in previous Dragon Age games.
Nice. I hope they have different
companions have
finishers.
different combo options together, and there are certainly opportunities to build team synergy. Oh, and you'll want to listen to your companions in combat too, as they'll occasionally drop some useful hints.
Okay, that's great.
But combat aside, your dialogue choices, your rook's background, and the frequent decisions you make are immediately important, which shouldn't be too surprising for fans of BioWare games. The dialogue wheel is back, of course, as is the approval-disapproval system.
We haven't got a lot of time. Varric said you had a lead on Solus?
Dragon Age 2 dialogue wheel. I honestly didn't like it that much because sometimes you wanted something said, but it's totally different from what is written on the dialogue wheel. So I hope this time around it's properly communicated and you'll say whatever you wanted to say at that time, because sometimes during Dragon Age 2 you wanted to say something and the character says something totally different.
You get right to the point.
But I was surprised to see that the Veilguard actually explained
Varric has noted that you like action more than words. Oh, that's new. That's new. I like that. Though for the record, there was probably an easier way to do that, fighting an entire bar. So I had you on my side. Okay, but it worked though. Whatever works.
the consequences of some of your dialogue choices in very clear terms.
See.
Really?
It's a
Okay,
variation
that's
of
good.
the so-and-so will remember that system, but
Wait, that feels like a bit clunky. Is there some lag there?
the so-and-so will remember
There?
that system,
Yeah.
but more specific.
But we do have Nev's location now, so...
Take, for example, my first confrontation with Solus, aka Fen'Harel, aka the Dreadwolf. I chose a more sarcastic, humorous
I was
approach
not
with him,
destroying
and
the
at
world.
the end of our confrontation, text on the side of the screen informed
You have exchanged verbal jabs with Solus. That's nice. Elgernan and Gidenin are your
me
problem
that
to
I
solve.
have traded verbal jabs with Solus.
This is your responsibility now.
It was far from the only occurrence of this sort of text, and it leaves me
If Elgernan and Gilinan are worse than Solus, we can't go in blind. We need to know what they can do and what they want. Okay.
curious as to how your relationships with various characters will build and branch out over time based on your
Oh, Harding, what happened to you?
attitude. Speaking of consequences, it quickly became clear to me that there would
Ooh, there's hearts. Until Asan and I have that, I'm supposed to keep him safe. He needs to learn. He's ready. It's okay. You're a softie. Okay.
consistently be tons of choices in the Veilguard that'll have lasting results.
Flirty, flirty.
It probably sounds like I'm stating the obvious here, but I got the sense that even more of these kinds of choices might be peppered throughout than the usual BioWare game. Right at the beginning,
sounds
for instance,
nice.
I made a choice that led to Harding getting injured, and she was still bruised up for the remainder of the next
Ooh.
couple hours. I felt like a real jerk about it, and that was probably the point. Dragon Age the Veilguard seemed to be telling me, right from the start, that I'm going to feel like a jerk a lot.
You don't slow down for much, do you?
Without spoiling too much, you'll also be able
Ooh, this looks good. And is he a mage?
to see some of your progression and choices in the environment around you as well. But once introductions were out of the way,
See, it's like just moving a bat, your staff. It doesn't look too cool for me.
it was time to explore the wide world of Thetis and see its past and present collide.
Shall we? Let's do this.
As mentioned earlier, one of my biggest worries was that the Veilguard could end up being more linear in its approach, trading branching gameplay for a straight line. And sure, the opening hours,
It's gonna be a
essentially the
problem.
tutorial zone, are a little railroady, save for a couple
Most Dragon Age games or Origins, yeah, I think from Origins till Inquisition, you have branching storylines. Like in Origins, if you sided with Logain, you can side with Logain during the Lance meet. Alistair will like leave your party, and depending on the choices that you made before, Alistair can stay if he's hardened. With Dragon Age 2, I don't remember much. I didn't play Dragon Age 2 that much. What are branching storylines depending on your... I don't remember. Ah, yeah. Your... What do you call this? Your sister or brother surviving, becoming a Grey Warden or not. In Dragon Age Inquisition, what branching storylines? Black Wall. Yeah, Black Wall. There's Black Wall there. I think you can have him killed, join the Grey Wardens as well. And then there's Iron Bull. Yeah, Iron Bull. I remember there's a quest there if you want Iron Bull to become a still become a Kunari or a part of the Qun. If you want him a part of the Qun, he needs to betray the Chargers, I think, or you can save the Chargers and become Qun. Become Bull, becoming like a what they call this, a bit, there's a term called in Kunari if you're removed from the Qun. I forgot what it's called. So there are branching stories. I hope on this time as well they still have those.
Couple key decisions you have to make. But once you're past that and more established within Act 1, you're much more free to tackle quests as you please as you unlock more and more regions. You do this via the Crossroads. For those of you who aren't brushed up on your Dragon Age lore, that's a nexus between the waking world of Thedas and the metaphysical realm of the Fade, through which the ancient elves would travel through magical mirrors called Alluvians. You now use the Alluvians for that same purpose, and to unlock new regions, you have to fight through certain areas of the Crossroads before you can start fast traveling to them. Unlocking said regions opens up a vast network of areas, and not unlike past
Sirin the
games,
Twice
they're
Forged.
dramatically different from one another.
As the gods champion passed freely.
Who is that character?
Take, for example, the Arlethan Forest, a gorgeous, colorful region that mixes greenery with elven magic. You can see nugs burrow into the grass, magical artifacts abound, and there's a vast array of nature to simply admire. You're hit with a massive tone shift, however, when you head to Hossberg.
Lavendel Village. Whatever happened here looks like Demeter's Crossing.
Currently under siege by the Blight, here is where you'll see some of the more horror-inspired aesthetics, and frankly, just some of the grosser aspects of the Blight. While the Veilguard's tone certainly leans more high.
Darkspawn, it's a mixed bag for me, mostly on the downside. I prefer the older designs. These newer ones looks goofy for me. I'll live with it. I'll play the game. I just preferred if the faces wasn't too goofy when you zoom on them. They really look very goofy. But these kinds of Darkspawn, I'm not sure what it's called. They have these like growths at their back where they can take it and make it as a projectile. That's really cool for me.
Fantasy in places like the Crossroads, don't worry. Those who miss the gore and dark fantasy of Origins will find that too in places where the Blight has spread.
It sounds good.
But I couldn't help but spend a lot of my time just running around in Treviso, the bustling city that's home to the Antivan Crows faction. For one thing, a lively city feels like a novelty in Dragon Age, but there was simply so much to explore that I kept getting sidetracked.
Nice,
Searching with
nice.
unique
I
items
like
here,
that.
A new quest to pick up over there, and a random combat encounter over there.
I love random encounters in the wild or in the map. I prefer that actually. Because my style is I'll go on random encounters, have my main character level up. I like over leveling my character before going through the main storyline.
And that's just when I wasn't looking around for a cat or dog to pet. Because yes, you can pet the cats and dogs. Outside of the cats and dogs, there are some unique ways to interact with the environment as well. Each companion has an environmental ability, some of which came in quite handy for me. In my time in the Arlethan Forest, I frequently called upon Balara, whose environmental ability allows her to tinker with magical artifacts.
Yeah, these are like the HMs in Pokemon, so that you can unlock certain areas. I don't like this. You're locked to a specific character. You have to bring them. You might think that if there's a mechanic like this, you'll be forced to use some characters so that you don't get to use the same characters all the time. But I still prefer that. I don't know. I prefer not having this kind. It's okay if there's some blocks or some things hindering you from accessing some maps, but I just wish you're not locked to a specific character. You don't have to bring. I don't like bringing them with me. If I don't like bringing them with me, then how do you say this? If they have that specific ability, I don't have a choice but to bring them. I don't like that.
Artifacts. In a nice quality of life feature, your companions don't even need to be in your party in order for you to use these abilities.
Oh, okay. Erase. So, forget what I said. So, they're not required to be in your party. So, I think that's good. Then it's fine with me.
As an aside, another one of my favorite quality of life additions is the fact that party banter pauses and picks up again later if you trigger combat,
Okay,
cutscene,
that's
or anything
that's
else that
great.
would interrupt their dialogue. That's right, no more awkward standing around in order to hear the complete conversation.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll be entering a cutscene, you'll be having some combat, and then the conversation that you were trying to listen to just disappears. Good thing that's been addressed on this game.
Yes.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, the difficulty and accessibility options do allow for about just as much or as little hand-holding as you need. For example, with one Antivan Crow's quest I was doing, I could turn the navigation on and simply follow the game's guidance.
Yes,
or turn it off
options,
and look for
options,
clues in the environment to
options.
follow.
I hate it when people say, "Why do you have the easy mode? Get good." Come on, man, you don't have to use that mode. So I really appreciate it when they give more options to the game. I'll play normal difficulty, maybe in nightmare difficulty. I used to play in nightmare difficulty before because normal is too easy for me. But if there is easy mode, then it's okay. Because sometimes I want to play, I just want to have some fun and don't want to get stressed. So if you have the easy mode, then it's great. At least there's an option, right?
In this case, the crow's purple symbol painted on certain walls.
Another mark this way.
There.
I also just happened to be playing an Antivan Crow Rook while completing this quest, which led to some fun dialogue options.
We crows are all the army Antiva has, but it's not like we can field a garrison.
Once I was in the thick of things, I could clearly see the features in the Veilguard that boiled
What is that?
down to, okay, we heard the complaints about Inquisition.
Is that a mage or
specifically
something?
addressing
No,
the
they're
infamous
like
Hinterlands problem,
dark
which is a reference
spawns?
to the first open world area players visit in Inquisition. The zone was packed with more than
Yeah, they're dark spawns.
50
These looks
side
better
quests,
actually.
many of which boiled
Wait,
down
I
to mere
want
fetch
it to be
quests,
zoomed.
And it left many players drowning in a bevy of checklists that felt inconsequential to the story. The Veilguard has boiled this down quite a lot. You're still free to explore, but the scope isn't nearly as
Wait, I think the name went up there.
quite a lot. You're still
Oh no,
free
it's
to
just
explore,
bleeding.
but the scope isn't nearly as dizzying, and the quests point back to the main story,
Is that a gen lock?
a region or faction, or a companion.
What they call a mage darkspawn? Is it a gen lock?
Another clear reaction to criticisms of Inquisition
Morrigan.
are villains in the Veilguard, Algernon and Gillenane. The two elven gods feel much more present throughout the events of the early game than Corypheus, the frankly lackluster baddie of Inquisition.
Whatever
Yeah.
comes, we're ready for a fight.
Words easily said, but rarely proven.
While there's a whole lot more Thetis to see and talk about, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it back home to the Lighthouse.
The base of operations.
The Lighthouse lighthouse will likely be the most important location of the Veilguard, serving as the hub for you and your companions. Each one of your companions has their own room, and conveniently, a light shines outside of their door when they have a cutscene available. Once you get further into Act 1,
You know, uh, the best time Dragon Age implemented like a base of operations kind of uh mechanic is, for me, is what they call that DLC. Was it Warden's Keep? It's a DLC from Origins where you fight the what DLC was that? I think Warden's Keep, where you fight the architect. Because on that story or game, there are side quests where you upgrade your castle, your keep. So, upgrading your keeps, defenses will let your what they call this people and your companions on the end story. I think it was on the end story, the last quest, when you're being attacked by the architect. I remember, if you have good defenses, more townspeople, more companions, or most of the companions will survive. So there's a reason to upgrade your castle that time. Unlike in Inquisition, there are like what they call this. There's an option for not upgrade. There is this quest where there's some fetch quests where you can create a banner, you can create a boat, you can create some supplies, but they did not like impact the last quest of the game. I thought if you had that, you'll have better defense. Like, it will say that you were able to defend better, but no, it did not. So I hope this time around they can implement it like they implemented it in Warden's Keep.
it certainly starts to feel more lived in, and you can discover some pretty charming character quirks. For example, I found that Emmerich's skeletal assistant Manfred enjoys spending time on the balcony, and we even got a few games of rock, paper, scissors in.
That's cute.
The lighthouse is also, obviously, where you're able to do some housekeeping, especially when it comes to the caretaker.
Offer, dweller. I will.
Caretaker's
This
Workshop.
wildly
I really thought they mentioned before that some mysterious individual will be staying with you in the library. What do you call this place? The library. I thought it was Sandal. Because in the first and second Dragon Age games, Sandal was there and he was very mysterious and he was very good with enchantments. So I really thought Sandal will be coming back to this game.
helpful spirit is always standing
People
by to
were
help you
even
and
saying
to
that he's like an elder god,
great armor for you and your companions.
but
Well,
apparently
like-
they did not went through to that, and nothing was said after that about Sandal.
Lighthouse somewhat symbolic of one of the biggest challenges this game is facing, bringing in new players while honoring the now incredibly vast lore that Dragon Age has built across the games, comic books, short stories, and more. Basically, if you were worried that the name change from Dragon Age Dreadwolf would mean less Solus, think again. His history, along with the history of the other
Yeah, it's me. I'm okay. It's more of a concern with new players because this game has such a deep lore with it that you have to play the games, you have to read the comics, you have to read the novels, you have to be updated with all the theories to enjoy the story. Like in this game, if you know what is an Evanurus, you wouldn't know that term, right? If you new to the game. Evanurus is like the pantheon of gods for the elven people. So you will hear some words, some references. If you're not into the story, I think you won't be able to get them. So I hope they handled this game in a way that new players can also enjoy the story.
elven gods is baked into the lighthouse, and you learn more and more about the threat you face as you unlock Solus's murals with various wolf statues.
Ah, okay. It's the same with Inquisition.
You get to see some of these
Solus is
memories
doing some
firsthand.
murals.
They need gods who can protect their
This is really cool. You know what? This kind of art style, I really like this kind of art style. During Dragon Age Dragon Age Origins, the way they explained the blight at the start of the story or at the start of the game is like this. This is the exact like mural type storytelling.
gods. You will learn that.
As a lore nerd, I very much appreciated this, as well as the various other callbacks to series history. The Origins fans will likely love the Grey Warden heavy quests, and we
Heck
already
yeah.
know the Inquisitor will be involved in some way, as you can recreate them and select your world states in the character creator. But
Just the Inquisitor, the Warden will not show here. I hope there's a mention about my Warden in Origins or the Warden in Origins because, man, I know so many of us who wants like a small cameo or even a little bit of update about him.
I do wonder if it'll overwhelm new
Game
players, which BioWare
Kamek
certainly seems
Master.
to be porting with its
What
action
kind
heavy
of
combat system.
what kind of monster is this? Is this an ogre? Why is he having so much horns? Oh my god, are those hands? Those are hands, right?
That's why it helps, at least, to have something of an outsider like Rook to take the helm of the Veilguard. Plus, the scrappiness of Rook reminded me
Wow.
a bit of playing as Hawk in Dragon Age 2,
Those look like golems.
rather than the more Chosen One-esque protagonists of the Warden in Origins and the Inquisitor in Inquisition. In short, a lot's changed in Dragon Age the Veilguard, but there was so much I was relieved to see stay. The focus on companions and romance, the rich lore, and a gorgeous world to explore. It goes without saying that there's still a ton of the Veilguard that I haven't seen, especially if it's as big as Origins and Inquisition, and it certainly seems like it. But after finishing my preview, I found myself even more eager to dive into it, and much more hopeful that this could be the hit BioWare needs.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That's the end, right?
It's been
Sorry. Actually, BioWare needs this to hit. 1 second. Sorry. This needs to be very good. Because if it's just good, I don't think BioWare will exist in 5 to 10 years. Because the last two games that they made, Anthem and not Dragon Age, Mass Effect Andromeda flopped. So if this game, I think it will sell, but if it's not great, I think BioWare may be in trouble, and the Dragon Age franchise as well. So they really need a W. Hopefully they'll have one with this, but it's looking really good. And I think they're prepared with this one. Why? Because the game is already Steam Deck verified. So it means it's almost or finished already. And they're just doing little tweaks here and there. Because you can't be Steam verified already if it's not finished yet, right? So I think the more updates I see from this game, the more happy I am. So, I think that's it for the exclusive first-hand preview from IGN. I'm not IGN. I'm not IGN. Okay, I'm just reacting to it. So, till next time, guys. See you. Bye bye.